Everybody, this is Lettuce. Hello, hello, and welcome to Mindfulness Mondays. I have with me the beautiful Beverly Kyer. And I know, Beverly, we're going to be talking more about enhancing the joy in our life, which is something that I think is really super important because there's just so much going on. So I'm going to turn you over to the wonderful Beverly Kyer. Beverly, what
Good
do you have
morning,
for us
Lennon.
today?
Good morning, and good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome back to Mindfulness Monday. I am going to talk today about the enhancing the joy. We began to have that discussion, I think, week before last on under a different topic, but I wanted to drill down deeper on that. It kind of developed out of a question that Linus and I had formulated some weeks back, and that was, what strategies are we employing to maintain contact and socialization with friends and loved ones while sheltered in place or self quarantine? That's a real challenge for people. It's a lot missing. Obviously, a couple of weeks back, we had Brian Post speak to us about parenting in the era of COVID. And always from time to time, I'm addressing how we are caretaking people, either from the perspective of our work and our family and friends, our caretaking of others. But today, I'm talking to you about you. I'm talking to you about the importance of enhancing the joy in your life. What does that mean? How does that even look? And what does that do for you? I know that the joy that you create and allow in your life will begin to set the atmosphere in your home for yourself first and for your family when we're just in a better space. Our capacity to be creative and responsive in the way we choose to be with our family, even the way we face challenges, is in a much better place. But to begin, daily, as you know, I hear from folks about the impacts of the risk reduction and the safety restrictions that they face, we all face, missing family, friends, co-workers, or just experiencing the absence of experiencing the comings of goings of people as we, shop or take walks or sit at restaurants like we used to do, or even being in the movie houses. God, I miss that so much. In truth, in some places under certain areas where there's less exposure or just the location, these experiences do exist, but that depends on many factors. For many of us, it does not exist. And so, nevertheless, it's just not the same anymore. The result, though, of missing all of these things and these interactions with people is an unhealthy disconnection, a disruption from our innate human desires and need for connection. That's really important. We're wired as human beings for kind of socialization. And so I hear chronic reports, as you could imagine, and some of you experiencing too, the sadness, the isolation, aloneness, loneliness, abandonment, emotional exhaustion, and an encroaching depression. And some of us have already been there of experiencing degrees of depression. This is the result of an accumulative and compounded and exacerbated stressors that flood us in this experience of COVID. The losses, the constant adjustments, the things we don't know. But those stresses flood our brains and our bodies with the stress hormone, and it becomes something that we call a toxic stress syndrome. Stress situations activate the five senses. I want you to remember, if those of you, I talked about this a while back, and many of you may not have heard. When there's a traumatic stress and just a change, a loss, a shift that we can't control, feeling out of control, feeling helpless, feeling that we can't quite figure out the things that we need to do, the fears and stuff like that. Those stress situations, they activate the five senses. That's the way the body remembers and handles stress. It will always remember what it saw at the time, what it heard at the time, what it felt at the time, what it smelt at the time, what it tasted at the time. This is the way stress activates in our body. Post any traumatic stress, the body will remember that way. Stress, traumatic events are repetitive. They come back, but they come back, let me say it again, by way of the activation of the five senses. So, what do you get to do? You get to choose to flip the switch. If the negative content, the negative material, the worrisome, the grievous, the upsetting, the outraging kind of things activate the senses, then you flip the switch by enhancing your joy with positive sensory stimulation. In other words, you, in replacement of the negative content that activates those senses, instead use positive stimulation to activate those senses in a different way. In other words, look, the sight thing, look at or visualize beautiful images, pictures, sceneries. I'm always sending people to that thing on YouTube called Miracle Music. We can look at beautiful scenes of waterfalls and lavender fields and mountain scenes and the forests, rainforests, or whatever the case is. The hearing, listen to soft sounds, listen to waterfalls, listen to rainfalls. There's all kinds of apps to do this. Listen to classical music if that's your thing, or other kind of rhythm and blues or jazz, whatever it is. Listen to child's laughter. That came to me because I remember some times ago when my husband was in college during the day. And when our little baby was born, and I always wanted him to hear. Sometimes my child would just be laughing and giggling as a little infant, a little toddler. And my husband was saying he was missing out on that. And so I recorded it. But it's just amazing how much joy it could bring listening to a child laughing. And we would just be hysterical listening to that. But this is how you just flip the switch on what you hear, the input, instead of all of that negative stuff we get to hear on the news, to listen to things that bring joy to you. The smell, uh, aromatherapy. I can't say enough. I think most of, not all of you, know about the power of aromatherapy, but that's how you flip the switch there. And then the touch is so important. The skin is the heaviest organ on the body. All of the sensory pathways come to the skin. Touch, so caress your favorite pet, that soft furry thing with that heartbeat underneath the surface, and the warmth of it. Touch the person that you love, this cuddle, get a good hug, and those who are close to you. Or some people say, I got a dear friend in New York, a friend out here in California that loves a garden, but what they really are talking about is just having their hands in the soil of the garden, that just that sensation. And then the taste piece. I mean, I just read some book about love, life, and laugh and eat some years ago, and a woman, I think she was from Paris, she was talking about this, having a piece of chocolate lay on your tongue. Don't chew it. Just let it melt very, very slowly, just, or whatever it is that you dislike. See, reactivate those five senses with positive sensory stimulation. By doing that, what you do is you release a lot of the right brain chemistry, things that are really, really important, like the serotonins or the endorphins, or certainly the dopamines. These are the things that just make you feel better. But these are things you get to do. There's also ideas for redesigning how we do life now to enhance the joys in our life, howbeit in very, very different ways, because we're doing everything different now. I told Joe before, I walk with my best friend, Ray. He's in Berkeley and I'm out here. And he pushes the issue because he's much more disciplined about exercise than I am. But I mean, we're on our cell phones and we're having a deep conversation about any and everything from the distance. And uh, um, we walk outside, but sometimes it's too hot. I live here near the Delta. It's hotter where I live than where he lives. And sometimes I walk in the house, I walk on the trampoline, but we're together taking a walk. We're having a conversation for the duration of the time, usually 45 minutes. Also, like standing dates I have with friends on Zoom or FaceTime. I used to use Skype. I mostly use FaceTime to do but these are dates for dinner. I literally have dinner dates and cocktail dates. And one of my friends from Nevada, we just like to chew on pistachios and, have tea or something like that, and just have good conversations and laugh. I actually had virtually traveled across country with a dear friend who relocated from the West Coast to the southern eastern part of the country. And we just got on the FaceTime at different intervals of her travel. She was in her hotels or bed and breakfast, or whatever the case is, and just kind of communicate and see where she was, and kind of laugh about some things and talk about safety and new experiences. There are also web games, puzzles, You could do on the web. Uh, Monopoly, you could do on the web with people. People are doing book clubs. People are having parties, etc. I find joy also in redesigning my home with my son. We just I'm enjoying that space. We're making our space to accommodate that we are now home 99% of the time. Both of us work from home as opposed to being on the road as we formerly were. But we've taken a great joy. We have just torn upside down the garage and then the living room and then different spaces and rearranging the physical arrangements in our house. I also find joy in getting texts and pictures and videos from my nieces and my nephew and my granddaughter from their different locations in different areas of the country. Most of them are in the East Coast or some are down in Southern California. I just enjoy getting those things to stay in touch and maybe making a response to it. I find joy in getting a call almost every week from my poor aunt. She's like 98 years old. She's in Florida. I'm here in California. And she likes to ask because she gets very concerned looking at the news and she wants to know how close I am to the latest fire going on in California. So she gets confused, so she just calls a lot about that, and I tell her, but she really wants to talk, and I do find a lot of joy in knowing somebody loves me that much. She's my last living aunt, and I just love talking to her. And of course, I find joy in talking live to each of you who have time and opportunity to engage with me. That's a choice to find joy in that. Now, I'm going to say to this, don't butt me. You know how we like to butt, and don't butt yourself out of stretching and making a shift to enhance your joy. You know how you have to say, Beverly, but Beverly, I'm tired of Zoom. But Beverly, I don't want to drive. I don't want to do takeout food. And Beverly, I prefer to do this and this and this. And but it's not the same, you say. Well, you think there are multiple changes, a multitude of changes. No, it's not the same. However, I take joy in seeing faces of people I like and I love, smiling at each other, laughing about stuff, just listening to them talk. We share alternative ideas about life in the era of COVID, sharing what we have to be grateful for. And sometimes I need some reminders too when I get frustrated, just like anybody else. And we also share our hope for the future, the things we'll do whenever happens, and whatever that is. I want to encourage you to revisit old things that you have budded out of your life, for they may serve a new purpose, and open yourself to possibilities for you to experience joy in those things now. If you just look at them, rethink them, look at them again, I lovingly encourage you to stop budding these situations and revisit and rethink the new possibilities that you could create in them if you try them now. It's sort of like some things years ago I didn't necessarily like to eat, and then many years later, I find some joy in them now. I want to tell you that yesterday I attended a beautiful wedding of friends whom I love dearly. I would really have enjoyed being there in a glorious space that they chose, for me to be able to hug them, perhaps even dance at a reception with them. Yet I felt so much joy watching them live on Zoom, seeing, witnessing their happiness, listening to their vows. I was truly grateful for having been invited to share those precious minutes with them. Theirs was one of the many ways to say that, in spite of the challenges of COVID 19, you get to create and co create ways to illustrate that life goes on. Rediscovering, creating new ways, whatever it takes to enhance our joy is a choice. Nothing that comes too easy is ever as much appreciated as those things that come with effort. My friends designed and shaped a virtual wedding experience for 176 guests of family, friends, and loved ones that will be a beautiful and delightful lifetime memory. So choose to connect, choose how, and choose what is the next best thing for you. Joy changes your body mind chemistry for the better. It just does. But it does begin with a choice, with an enormous opportunity to enhance the joy in your life. So, with that, That's it for today. And if you have any ideas and any suggestions, please add them to the site and your responses, and we'll be sharing those with others who would appreciate hearing from them. And until then, I will be with you again next week on Mindfulness Monday at 9:30 a.m. sharp. Y'all take care now. Kind to yourself.
Much, Beverly. That was a beautiful message, and you're so right. It is a choice. We can choose to have joy. And for all of you who are listening right now, we do want to hear from you. So please share your comments and your thoughts. We would love to hear what your ideas are in terms of how you enhance and share joy in your life and how you deal with some of the issues around loneliness and isolation. Maybe some of the anxiety you're feeling right now. These are anxious times, and we. This is an exchange of information. You know, Beverly has wonderful ideas, but maybe there's something else that you've done as well that has helped to foster in more joy in your life. If you want to contact and reach out to Beverly, don't forget to visit her website, and you can contact her through there, or you can contact her through Facebook or Instagram, depending on where you are seeing this video. We really want to be able to interact with you and to get to know more about you. It's so wonderful to be able to connect with you in this way. And we really do look forward to having you next Monday at 9:30. We'll be talking about another topic. Somebody said, thank you so much. And someone else, here you go. Someone else said that they will choose joy. So there.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
That's good to hear. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And thank you to all of you. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place, 9:30 in the Wellness Reset group. And we'll be streaming to a bunch of other groups and pages. So please, if you like, share this with others who you think could use a positive message of how to enhance their joy during these times. Thanks so much, Beverly, and thanks to all of you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Take care, Lennox. Thank you.
Thank you.